Hey guys, before we get started on today's video, I would like to take a moment to talk about today's video sponsor, LiQWYD. LiQWYD is an energy drink that is loaded with vitamins and nootropics. LiQWYD is a great drink for anyone that wants to focus without jitters or crash. Unlike other energy drinks, LiQWYD prides itself on developing a clean energy formula that is free from fillers, maltodextrin, and artificial colors. Go have a look at everything LiQWYD has to offer. Use the code ERIC666 to get 10% off your purchase. Now, to the video. What's going on, guys? Welcome to another video, another interview actually. I'm actually here with a very special guest. His name is Chandler. He is in charge of the songs you know of as Hot Pocket and Figure It Out. We're here to interview him today and just kind of get to know him a little bit better and kind of hopefully shed a little bit more light about what he goes through on a daily basis when it comes to making his music and that kind of thing. All right, so I guess we'll go ahead and start with some warm-up questions.
Yep.
Okay, so if you had to pick one movie to watch for the rest of your life, what movie would it be, and is that your favorite movie?
Oh, God. That's so hard. You know what I watched last night? I watched Kicking and Screaming for the first time in a long time last night. I feel like I could watch that movie over and over and over again. It's definitely not my favorite, though. But... I'm gonna think. That's so tough. Like, maybe Galaxy Quest is really good with Tim Allen and Sigourney Weaver. Damn. Trying to think. Goodfellas. I could watch Goodfellas over and over again, probably. I'm not like somebody that likes a specific genre of film like much more than others. Like if the movie is good, I'll watch it kind of person, you know. So Kicking and Screaming is a safe bet though, honestly.
Kicking and Screaming. I actually have never heard of that movie before, but
It's a Will Ferrell movie.
Is it?
Yeah, it's a kids movie. It's like Will Ferrell like coaches a soccer team that plays in the same league as his dad's soccer team, and then they battle it out, and like Mike Ditka like becomes Will Ferrell's like fucking assistant coach, and like I don't know, it's not a brilliant film. Probably why it feels like it would be easy to watch over and over again.
Well, I'll definitely have to check that out because we've been trying to find some movies lately to watch, and it just seems like there's nothing really like great to watch.
Yeah, they're all in theaters.
Alrighty, so I guess we'll move on to the next one. What is your favorite song and why?
I can say pretty confidently that I don't have a favorite song. My favorite songs like change so constantly. I mean, like there are songs that like I have really like strong attachments to that are like I feel like songs that like underscored important moments in my life, or songs that like when I look back on like the first songs I can remember hearing and thinking that like feeling in my body that there was like a talent for music. Like I always jump to My Name is Prince. I was actually just on a podcast recently and somebody asked me a similar question and I gave them that. My Name is Prince by Prince and the New Generation. That song is like something I really like in music in general, but especially in like rap and hip hop, funk, R&B, soul rock, like all these genres. I love like really like blatant in your face confidence, but like that doesn't come off like cocky. It comes off like earned. And Prince has really like taps into exactly what I'm talking about with that in the song My Name is Prince. So that's a Prince. I feel like that's a Prince deep cut, but honestly, like as far as like songs that I would consider my favorite songs, or songs that are like attached to like some of the better memories in my life, that's probably at least in the top 10, if not 5.
That's awesome. Yeah, no, I think a lot of people are kind of the same ways. Like music kind of resonates with them in different like ways, and like I know I'm the same way. Where almost every song I ever listen to, I'm very like attached to it. Like there's a memory associated with that song, or
Yeah.
something happened with that song, so that's why I kind of keep listening to it.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. Okay, what is your dream vehicle?
Vehicle?
Yeah.
Dude, have you ever seen the you know what a Genesis is?
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever seen the like they made like 500 of them, like the limited like sports like the limited sport model, like the launch mode of the
Mm-hmm.
G70
Uh-huh.
with like the red leather interior and like the matte gray finish. They made like 500 of them, and they're like I mean, it's technically a luxury vehicle, but like you know, I know like Genesis is like on the lower end of the like luxury market, so it's like it's not this like in your face like cocky car, but I've like test driven that car before, and like honestly, like if music sounds good in a car, that's probably which is silly, but like I'm not a car guy, so like the those kinds of things, like those kinds of features are the things that stand out to me, like the user friendly interface on the technology or music, or those are the kinds of things that matter to me. Like if it drives, it drives. I don't care about, you know. But I did eat up that car when I sat in it.
So you're more so just kind of like an A to B driver, as long as it gets you there.
Yeah, like I drive a I mean for years and years and years I drove like um uh '08 Ford Focus. It's like just a reliable vehicle, like a silver '08 Ford Focus. And then last year I bought like a green '22 Hyundai Venue, and totally like I mean, outside of like the drive modes and like having the ability to like pick up when you go on the interstate, like in a sport mode or something like that, the actual like drivability of it, like as long as it doesn't like feel fucking crazy to me, like it's fine. And then I'm like relying on like, you know, Apple CarPlay capability and music and like very like standard shit that's like, yeah, I've never been somebody that has like, you know, wanted so badly for like a, you know, I never go into car shows or like I'm like, hey, the Aston Martin or the Lamborghini or something. Like I don't know. I just never really took interest in it. But I worked for a marketing company whose the majority of their major clients were auto brands. That's the only reason I know I even know these names or have been in these cars.
Oh man, well the older Ford Focuses really lasted a long time too. They were very good cars.
Yeah, it was
Um,
reliable.
I had a 2013 Ford Fusion, and
Nice.
such a reliable car. But
Yeah.
I got I got something else, and I never looked back at it. But
Yeah, I mean it lasted me
um,
from I mean it was used when I had it in 2012, 2013. And then, I mean, I think I had it up until a couple years ago. So, I mean, it was pretty good.
that's
I drove the
awesome.
fuck out of it too, because I drove it like on like early tours with my band and shit, like long distances and stuff. Like when the van would
Uh,
break down and we would have to drive our own cars, like all up and down the coast and in the Midwest and stuff. So I really drove it into the ground.
that's awesome. I mean, that's what they're for, man. I mean,
Yeah, exactly.
um, all right. So we'll move more so in towards the interview style questions. So, what slash who inspired you to get into becoming a music artist?
Uh, so I actually I went to when I was in the fourth grade. I had I switched schools a lot when I was a kid. I went to a different school every year from the third to the ninth grade. Like switched schools every single year, which made it hard to make friends. But at the same time, it like also made it so that like I was forced into having manageable like I luckily like went in the direction of having like manageable personal skills where like I realized like, oh, in order to make new friends every single year, I will have to develop people skills. um, the first time I switched schools from the third to the fourth grade, I ended up going to a magnet school for literary arts. And so the literary arts like underscored like all of the curriculum there, but you had to take the visual art test that they had, and you had to audition for show choir. And it wasn't guaranteed that you would get in one or the other, but if you did, you had to do it. That was a part of the curriculum. Like if they said, "Oh, you tested, X in fucking vocal performance," you don't get a choice whether you get to do it or not. You have to do it. That's part of the magnet program. So I got forced into show choir in the fourth grade. Uh, the school was in Hampton, Virginia. Um, and I don't think I like fell in love with it or anything right away. I just kind of like had a bunch of adults, which is like, you can really just, at that age, you can really just go based off of what adults tell you. I just had a bunch of adults tell me that I had a knack for it. And so I did that all of fourth grade. And then I joined band in the fifth grade. And I already had a love like for rap and hip hop and R&B and pop. I mean, really all music, but specifically rap. Like I loved memorizing lyrics. And am I losing focus?
No, I was, so it like I have to do this every time it goes out of focus, so it gets back
Oh,
on.
that's funny. um, but yeah, found a love for like, I mean, just at a very young age, like I just love to memorize lyrics and like, you know, perform for my family and little things like that. So that was already there. And then when the schooling kind of pulled the musical talent out of me, I kind of melded the two things together. So it was like middle school when I realized like, oh, I have musical talent. I love rap and hip hop. And then it started like anybody else. You recite other people's shit, then you start taking songs that you like and you rap over those instrumentals, and then you start finding instrumentals for yourself. And then, by the time you get through that, you're in high school and other kids are making beats and this, that, and the other. And I grew up in an area where the genre is very prominent. I come from the same area code where like Timbaland and Missy Elliott and Pusha T and Clips and Pharrell and all these people are from. So it's what people's parents listen to. It's what they talked about on the TV. It's what people listen to on the bus. Like it was just kind of think in me. And so there was a lot of opportunity for like showcases and ciphers. And so there wasn't there wasn't one thing I think that really like inspired me. I think it was just the area that I grew up in. Like had a lot of opportunity and like kind of fostered it at a young age to the point where like it just felt like second nature by the time I was like a sentient adolescent.
So it definitely came naturally.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. How do you come up with the ideas for your music?
It's usually like when something happens. I don't really like, I'm not somebody that usually like sits down and, I mean, I can, but I think the best stuff comes when like somebody says something and I'm like, that's a song. Or something happens and I'm like, that's a song. Like with Figure It Out, like I was sitting with my partner and going through like who even knows, probably hundreds of beats, like just different folders, boom bap, pop rock, but we're just looking for something new, and I've been doing a lot of like boom bap, a lot of stuff that was like a little bit more in line with like something you would probably hear like Bronson or Earl Sweatshirt or somebody in that vein rap over, and Prof. And so we're going through this and we're going through this, and then she says to me, like, I really like the direction that your music is going in, but I can't shake it to that. Like, I can't shake ass to the music that you're making right now. Like, I get it. Like, I think like you're lyrically skilled, Chandler, but I can't shake ass to this song. So, um, I was like, that's a song. So I literally took exactly what she said, and I wrote a whole idea around it, and just made a hook about how, basically reminding people that I can make that kind of music. And I kind of like, I go back and forth between all the different subgenres, because I feel like as soon as I start to delve into one side, people forget that, like, I'll make like a couple more songs, like Figure It Out, like of the ones that are coming out, like the ones that are in the chamber are much more in that vein than in the previous catalog. And then people will forget, I'm sure, that I actually rap, and then I don't just like make dance songs or whatever you want to call it, internet clickbait. And I'll go right back to that, and I'll say, okay, well, let me spit a tight 32, and maybe you'll remember. So it every song informs the next song. Every hilarious thing that happens, every sad thing that happens. I mean, that's just the organic, like, it's when you get that feeling like 2 o'clock in the morning when you're like fucked up with your friends and somebody says something or something happens, and you're like, and you say like, we're going to talk about this forever. Like, we're going to talk about this 10 years from now. We're going to talk about this 20. Those are the things that inspire the best music, in my opinion. So usually it's a product of that.
That's awesome. Yeah, no, I always love hearing like the ideas and things that happen, like the small things that happen that turn into a song, and that is awesome. That conversation turned into Figure It Out, and
Yeah.
how that kind of transformed. That's hilarious, though.
Yeah.
That's
It's cool to see it come to it's cool to see stuff like that come to fruition, for sure.
so. How many hours would you say do you put into a typical song?
Hmm. Um Honestly, like, I mean, picking a beat will take a while, just because it used to not, because I used to like work with one producer, and now it's like I have a drive that's, I mean, I could spend a whole week, never stop listening to beats and not run out of beats to listen to. So listening to beats is pretty consuming. I mean, that's a couple hours probably, like, if the idea is already created. Um, on the small occasions where like I look for a beat before um, I look for a beat before the idea comes, it might not take as long, because then it's just about, do I like the beat? But when the idea comes first, the beat selection definitely takes hours, um, and then writing comes pretty naturally. Like, if something has instigated it, I mean, writing Figure It Out didn't take that long, but I mean, I waited around for an eternity for somebody to give, for idea to fall in my lap. Once it falls, it's so it depends on how you look at it. I mean, it's like, yeah, like, it might not have taken me a very long time to write that, but like, I don't know if I ever would have even written it had I not had that conversation. And how long did I wait to have that conversation? It just depends on how you look at it. But engineering takes weeks usually. I mean, I pass it back and forth with. Um, like the song that I just finished, that'll probably come out in a couple months. Like, it doesn't even have the feature on it yet, and we went back and forth 4 times pre-feature, um, and that's not including the amount of times that I went through it on my own before it ever got to the engineer. So, um, in reality, like, it's it's hours and hours, and it takes days in between passing it back and forth.
That's awesome. Yeah, no, I have a buddy who really likes to do music, and like he actually also looks up to you. And
Oh yeah.
hearing how much time it takes you to go into it, I think will make him feel a lot better as well, because he's been really struggling lately with his music, and the amount of time and effort that goes into it for such minimal results, um, I think is really kind of a downer for him. But um,
I mean,
I think
it takes so much time. It's like, and it's also
right,
like it's not like one thing happens and then that's gonna happen every time. Like the next song I put out, like the likelihood of it doing what as well as Figure It Out is incredibly low, incredibly low. Figure It Out is, I mean, probably 10 times the size than anything that I've done thus far, and you know, I have a song pop and I'll put out 4 or 5 songs over a couple months in between that'll do a couple tens of thousands of streams, and that's it. Um, so it's about like consistency and like knowing when to move forward. And, you know, there's just, especially when you're totally independent, like if you're working completely on your own and you don't have a team, it's, I mean, if I could go back in time, I'd put out music every week if I could afford to do it.
right. And so, what message are you wanting to like put out through your music to like your fans, to people, to aspiring song artists?
Sure. Um, I mean, I hope one of the big things that people can take away is that life doesn't have to be that serious, um, unless it has to be. It doesn't have to be that serious all the time. I hope that people like find joy and positivity, something to laugh about, something to talk to their friends about, whether they like it or not. I mean, honestly, even the haters, like, I hope that, you know, I hope that they get a kick out of it laughing with their friends, because all they're doing is helping me. So, yeah, I mean, I hope that people just find, I hope people find joy in it, and I hope that people, probably more than anything, what I usually tell people is that I hope it makes people realize, and then my story shines through it, that this shit doesn't always take a long time, but most of the time it does. It takes a really long time, and um, the importance of like knowing where your favorite artists came from and how they started, uh and you know, not judging a book by its cover and not jumping to conclusions. And I just like, I hope that like, that's, even though so much of my music is at surface level, like for shock value, or you know, whatever you want to call it, like if you really like engage with me and you follow me on platforms outside of TikTok and you come in my lives and you listen to me talk to people and you watch interviews like this and you read articles, and you'll see that I've been doing exactly what I'm doing now at the same level, same energy put in, that I've been doing since I was 15, 16 years old. And I'm just now getting to the place where anybody gives a shit. So it's yeah, more than anything else, it's just showing people that it can be done, and it doesn't always happen overnight. We get so sad hearing about, you know, people like, you know, Lil Dicky dropping his bar mitzvah money, and then like you know, like doing these music videos and waking up one day with millions of hits. And we also have to realize, like, just like, you know, inflation, how everything changes everything, it's also like algorithmically, video wise, like everything is totally different. If I had a video do 6 million views 10 years ago, you'd call me famous. But
Right.
6 million views now is not, it's not the same. Everything is scaled differently now. So um yeah, I mean, I hope more than anything that the music just feels inviting and invites people to uh, learn more and not give up. And on the occasions when I do get serious, very seldom when I do get serious, it's usually going to be about, you know, uh, it's usually going to be about showing that just because I'm having fun does not mean I don't care about the music or the genre or, you know, everything that it took to get to where I'm at now. There's nothing worse than somebody that is seeing my video for the first time that jumps to a conclusion about what the last 27 years of my life has been. There's
Right.
nothing worse than that. So, yeah, I hope it. I hope it's informative and inspiring more than anything else.
Well, it's definitely inspired me and my fiance for sure. And I know that hearing from a bunch of friends of mine and hearing in the community, in the music community, I can definitely tell you've inspired a ton of people,
Oh
and in
yeah,
more ways than one. So that's a big deal, and that's awesome that you've done that with what you have done it with.
that's thanks.
um, so I learned the other day, and my fiance kind of told me about this. She said that just in 25 days, your song "Figure It Out" hit 1 million streams on Spotify. How did that make you feel? Like just knowing that something you put so much work into made it to that.
I mean, you just never expect it, you know. It's like you never like, and I think back to like me and my best friend Gabe, who, if anybody knows my catalog well, knows him as Falair. He produces. He's produced some of my bigger songs like Raw Egg and Double Goose, and um, that's my that's my best friend. That's my brother. I was best man in his wedding and everything. We talk every day, and uh, he and I talk about all the time, probably at least on a monthly basis, if not more often. I'll say to him or he'll say to me like, "Man, do you remember when we used to like sit around for a whole month and try to figure out how to get a song to over 1,000 plays on Spotify for a whole month just so that it didn't have the little less than sign because we thought that we were in our heads and we thought that that was like that was going to make us look unprofessional and just getting like just over 1,000 would make it seem that much more legit, like how in our heads we were about like numbers and the way it would be perceived by other people and the fact that we were 24, 25 years old and like just the pressure that you know the people that were the same age or younger than us that were so much farther along, like how much we let that consume us. And now, you know, every day, like way more people than I would have ever thought would care in the entirety of a year hear the songs. Yeah, it's like unfathomable, but it's tough because I mean, you'll always want more. You'll never be satisfied, which is it's a really unfortunate reality. But I think that anybody that says otherwise is just capping.
Right.
Like because if you didn't want it that bad, you wouldn't get there. That's half the battle is wanting it that bad. If you don't want it, unless you get incredibly lucky, you're not gonna get it. So,
Right.
um, I yeah, it's everything. I wouldn't trade how all of this has happened for the world. I think that the amount of time and energy put into it has made it that much more rewarding and has made it so that I stay grounded and keep a level head and don't feel jaded and I can say confidently that I earned where I'm at and that it does not feel handed to me. But none of that is to say that it isn't incredibly surprising. Like you never think, no matter how good the song is, you can pass it back and forth a million. You can show it to everybody before it comes out, and everybody can tell. I mean, I had one of my best friends tell me when I showed him "Figure It Out" probably 6 weeks before it came out. I showed him the demo before the feature was on it, and he was like, "How do I invest in this song. He's like, because this is the one. And I was just like, Ryan says that like every time I show him a song. It's like you don't even think twice about it. You show, especially when you make songs, when you put out music on a monthly basis, it just becomes so routine. You don't even think twice about it. So when it happens, it feels so amazing and overwhelming. And yeah, I mean, I hope it happens again. And if it doesn't, at least it did. You know?
That's awesome. Yeah. And I guess my second to last question would be, you know, as your fan base continues to grow and as people continue to listen to your song and stuff like that, how do you try and stay connected more on a personal level with your fans? Like, does social media assist with that a lot more?
Yeah, I mean, I like to think that like I'm pretty. I mean, unless somebody makes me feel uncomfortable, like they're probably getting an answer. You know,
Right.
I mean, I get DMs that I think are out of pocket and uncomfortable or like don't align with my values sometimes, and I won't answer, I'll delete it or something, and like like I hope people like know like if they come to me like with good vibes and well intention, like they're probably getting at least a response. So I mean, I think it's incredibly. I hate nothing more do I hate than people, especially at my level, who I know because I do it, have enough time to interact with their fans, um, that act as if they're too good to do that, or that they don't care. Because my philosophy is, especially since I've been doing this full time, like this is my job now, and my fans are my boss. If they're not happy, I'm fired, right? So uh, I do everything that I can think to do to appease them. Um, Offer as many different outlets to, you know, interact with me, to advise what I do. I mean, I put polls up on every platform constantly and try to get fan feedback, and just like I mean they inform everything I do. My music is split at this point completely 50-50 down. I mean, I should start putting in the writer credits like fans with like general in
Right.
a thing, because they advise everything I do. Their behavior, when a song comes out, totally advises what happens next. And I'm okay with that. And some people, I think for good reason aren't that way. And then there's some people that are too prideful and that's why they aren't that way. And the way I look at it is like, if I ever want to make the music that I 100% want to make, that's 100% completely just, this is exactly what I want to make. First, I have to gain the trust of a solid fan base so that I have, um, I have the platform to do that. And I still don't think I'm there. I think there's a lot more, um, appeasing fans before I get to the place where I'm making 110% what I want to be making, and I want the fans to be as happy or happier than I am. I'm a rap game customer service rep, so you know that's how I look at it. So I like to think that I stay as engaged as my mental health and time itself will allow me to be.
Right. Well, and of course you can only do so much, and I think that's kind of the hard thing is you really have to balance it too a lot. Like,
For sure.
especially because like as much as like I'm sure you would want to respond to every single message you get on a daily basis, it's just sometimes it's very hard to do that.
Yeah.
And that's why when I sent you the message I did asking for the interview and stuff, I was like the likelihood that this is actually going to shoot through and he's going to respond is very, very low.
Dude,
And so
I'll
when
tell
you
you. Let me tell you something about that though. When you come earnestly, it will come through. And also, artists love to talk about themselves. If you give them the opportunity to do an interview where they can Finally, goddamn, finally, somebody let me talk. Somebody let me talk about all this work I've been doing. Somebody talk about I've been working my ass off. Somebody let me tell them about it. I'm telling you, uh, to anybody that would listen to this, always, always, always shoot your shot. There are so many shots that had I not shot them, I would not be where I'm at right now. You gotta shoot your shot, and if you come from the heart, you come earnestly. What's the worst? You know?
Right.
Yeah, the
Well,
likelihood was far higher than I'm sure you assumed it would be.
it was funny too because I was sitting there talking to a buddy of mine who we were just talking about starting the interview series and exposing the work that really does go into like being an artist or being a TikToker or a YouTuber. And like, I was like, you know what? I'm a huge fan of this dude. I'm gonna send him a message, and then like an hour later, I get a message back, and I literally run into the other room to my fiance, and I'm like, he responded. And so she was like so ecstatic, and it's awesome. And I think it's amazing that you take the time to actually like be involved with your community and the people who support you and back you, because like you said, I notice it too. There's a lot of people out there who do have that following, but they never show the thanks that I feel the communities need to get,
Yeah,
because without that community, honestly, that's the base of it.
yeah.
Those are the people
It
who
doesn't
support
exist.
you, and exactly.
It doesn't
And
exist otherwise. You never get, like you'll never it's so impossible, like, feeling in the beginning, especially, like, to think that you'll ever get to a place where you could live off of it. And if you are not, like, if you are not building a fan base that you feel like is going to stick around and support you and trust you, I mean, you're never gonna get there, because as soon as you do get there, you're gonna have all these people coming out of the woodworks being like, man, this guy doesn't give a fuck about his people, all this stuff. And it happens. It happens all the fucking time. And that's not the reason that you should be a good person to your fan base. But if for no other reason than that, right?
right.
I mean, yeah. I mean, the answer's right in front of you.
Well, and I tell people all the time, like even the people who watch my videos. I mean, I'm a small time YouTuber, but like even with the small 500, which is not small to me, I'm just saying that now. But when I see 500 and something subscribers, I like do everything in my power to like talk to them and be
Yeah.
involved with them, and that's what I've always wanted to do, and that's what I hope to keep doing. Such as yourself, being involved with the community and talking
Yeah.
with them, and you can tell that you're genuine about it, because like when I see your videos and stuff, you're talking to the audience, you're dancing with them, you're all that stuff, and that's awesome to see, and I'm really glad to see that, and it is an inspiration. So
Appreciate it.
on the final note, is there anything that you would feel comfortable saying now that your fans can expect from you in the future? Any hidden
Hmm.
surprises? Any?
Yeah, the next song comes out on August 18th. You can pre-save it at all my links on all my pages. It's called East Coast Residents. The feature is a rapper named Young Wabo, who has also been featured on Fresh Finds Hip Hop and Internet People and all of these really cool playlists. And he's shared the stage with Red Veil and Tierra Whack and a bunch of dope artists, and so he's on the up and up too. So it's a really cool song about repping being from the East Coast. So that's gonna be dope. That's August 18th, and then this week, um, my first tour in a while. Tickets go on sale, and we're going to a lot of places that we haven't been before, and some places we haven't been in a really long time. Indiana, Tennessee, uh, Connecticut, New York, bunch of places haven't been in a while. So yeah, keep your eyes out for that. And those are the two main things right now, I think.
Well, that's awesome, man. Well, again, thank you so much for showing up for the interview. And I'm sure the people who are watching this video really appreciate hearing from you and hearing what you had to say. So I appreciate it personally a lot.
No problem.
And with that being said, guys, I'm going to go ahead and end the interview here. If you guys enjoyed the content, smash that like, subscribe button. Go follow him on Spotify. Go check out his music. Amazing music. Literally, I listen to it on a daily basis. No lie. And with that being said, I hope you all have a Beartastic day.